Hey, so I am gonna admit that I'm pretty scared to make this video because a couple of reasons. One is that um, I, it's probably going to be divisive, which is something that I have been trying to avoid this whole time. I didn't want to, you know, bring controversy into the the small community of competitive Pokemon Go PvP. Um, and there have been a few people who have um, really stuck by me and shown me some really good support in the last few months, which I'm so grateful to those people for that support. And doing a video like this um, can have negative can have a negative impact on those people. So if that does happen, I'm very sorry to those people for that. The other reason that I'm scared to do this is because I spoke up. I tried to speak up earlier this year about having been bullied by people in the community, and it didn't go very well. I was silenced, banished, and slandered for it. So I'm hoping that I have better results here, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I used to be a staff member in a PvP server aimed at Australians. It was started all the way back in Season 1 by a group of Sylph Rangers and Guides. But, over the course of a few months, a lot of stuff happened. GBL was released, the pandemic hit, regionals came and went, and a lot of people, that was kind of the big mass exodus from Sylph Arena and from that server as well. The server basically became dead. It was a dead server. There was no more activity. It was yeah, there was nothing going on. So I have always been someone who has been really passionate about Australia's place in the global PvP scene. I I think it's a shame that like so few Australians take part in the competitive scene, and I want us to be able to play a bigger role in the global scene moving forward. So I had around that time lost all of my work due to COVID, and I decided that I would dedicate my time and my energy towards rebuilding and re-envisioning that server. It wasn't just going to be a place where people could, get their monthly tournament fix in a remote lobby anymore. It was going to be like, as I imagined it, it was going to be a place where, you know, we could pool resources, create events, provide training, and all learn together. Provide a community to build around, and basically, the end goal for me was, I guess, to make it a version of Go Stadium, but purely aimed at Australia. And I, put all my energy into this for months, and started projects and initiatives that kind of slowly got people interested in the server again and got the activity going again. And I slowly built something that I was incredibly proud of. It became my baby. um, that the reason I woke up in the morning was to keep working on that server, seeing what I could do with it, seeing how I could um, build it into something better than it was the day before. So I was like pretty much the only person doing anything proactive in the server as a staff member. So like it was me, and there's one other person in particular who I'm thinking of that was definitely doing a lot and putting in a lot of effort to like create stuff for the members. But other than like him and me, no one else was doing anything to be proactive and try stuff and take initiatives to build the community and propel it forward, which is fine because we're all volunteers here. No one's on a payroll, so if you don't want to do anything more than just have the title and resolve disputes, battle disputes when they come up, then sure, that's fine. Then one day, a person came to us and said that she wanted to be a staff member, and for the purposes of this story, we'll call her Person A. And Person A, she was a respected person in the community. She was someone who we thought would bring a lot to the table as a staff member. So we were like, yeah, of course, yeah, come on board. And again, like the others, she didn't do much other than just resolve disputes and have the title. But what she did do was she would make comments about me, and particularly about decisions that I made and how they reflected on me as a person. It started off really, really subtly, and then over time it grew more aggressive and overt. Or any decision that I made, even kind of little innocuous ones like changing the name of a channel or changing the color of a role or something like that, even that would start to would draw her ire. And she wasn't the only one. There was another person who we will call Person B, who started getting on board that train as well. When comments were made, they were personal comments. They like I said, they were comments that were reflections of me as a person. So I didn't particularly take them as well as I would have liked. I would argue back with them, and in my mind, like it was always me defending myself or explaining myself. I never needed to be right about what I was suggesting. I just wanted to be taken seriously and not treated like I was being a mean person for suggesting it. But both Person A and Person B would take everything I said and twist it into something that really sounded so much worse than it was. I've got a perfect example here of an exchange between myself and Person B. And I feel like this exchange illustrates how the whole time we were having these arguments, I was trying to be as diplomatic and accommodating as possible. I I'm usually really good with conflict. I have demonstrated in the past a real ability to understand where the other person is coming from and to talk to them on that level, to not hold grudges, to not to separate who they are as a person from what they're saying or what their stance is. And that has made me very good with conflict. It's it's a very heavy thing to say, but like I saved my parents' marriage once because of my kind of mediation skills. I once talked to someone out of suicide with my ability to connect with them, and yet in this situation, my ability to connect and communicate and be constructive with conversation didn't seem to work at all. So this particular exchange goes like, "Hey mate, could I ask you help with something a bit touchy?" Person A and I, player A, Person A and I had a conversation last night about a particular aspect of the server, and I made the mistake of not mentioning that the monthly lobbies are a part of that area of the server. So I promised her that I'd start a group conversation between a whole bunch of people and hash all that out as a team. I think it would be more constructive if you direct the conversation rather than me, because I think you'll be able to communicate a lot more effectively than I will. I want Person A to feel comfortable that whatever we cover in this conversation She has full agency to take on as much or as little of it as she wants. And afterwards, I intend to leave that conversation, and you guys can chat about any community-related matters moving forward. If you are willing to help out, I should first check that you and I have the same understanding of the role, particularly with regards to anything that might not have been mentioned previously, as that's understandably the kind of thing that triggers person A, and I'd like to avoid that if at all possible. Very long message that was only necessary because I wanted to make it very clear that I'm here for you guys and I want you guys to be happy. So can we work together on this? And he goes, let me think on this. I'm not ready to respond. So, okay, fine. Take your time, I said. And it takes him a couple of days to get back to me, where he says, I've been thinking about this for a while, and to be honest, I can't find any sugar-coated way to say what I want to say. I don't want to be part of your drama and trying to maintain control of the server. No hard feelings. Good luck with that situation. Now, I mean, side note, there's absolutely ways you can say that without being a dick about it. But my response was, thank you for taking the time to think it through. I hope you understand that my request came from wanting to rebuild trust rather than trying to create drama. I say this not to argue, but just trying to be understood. And person B just didn't respond to that. So that was the kind of thing that I was dealing with. It was no matter what I said, I was the bad guy, and that was incredibly frustrating. For something that I had formerly until now been taking like a lot of pride in. This was something that the reason for me to get up in the morning was to work on this server. I don't know if I already said that, but yeah, and now I'm having to deal with these two people who were making life so hard for reasons that I couldn't fathom. So eventually, the server owner, person C in this scenario, the person who officially created the server, he decided that in order to stop the arguing, the best solution was to remove my admin permissions and kind of put me on the same level as the rest of the staff. Now, I mean, sounds reasonable on the surface, but I was mortified by that because removing my admin perms told me that that I was the issue. That all this work I'd been doing to build this community for months, that was forgotten very, very quickly, and now I was just seen as a troublemaker, and just it stopped me from being able to do the job that I had spent so long trying to do. Like I couldn't do anything to build the server if I didn't have any admin permissions. So I didn't think that I could remain in a role where I was wanting to be proactive in the server, but not able to. And even if I tried, I was gonna keep meeting this opposition from person A and person B. So I didn't see any other option. I just walked away from the leadership role of the server. I just quit being a staff member. At first, I left quietly because despite all the crap that was happening, my first the thing that was most important to me was the health of this community that I'd built. And I knew that being dragged out kicking and screaming was going to be bad for them. So I left quietly, and they wrote a thank you message for all the hard work I'd done, which I felt was very fake, but I wasn't gonna say anything about it just because I didn't want to divide the PvP community or upset them. And you know how in kids shows they'll tell you that doing the right thing feels good inside. Like it gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling. That's bullshit. um, I've been involved in a number of situations in the past where I've done the right thing morally, and it's felt terrible. And this was one of them. I thought I was doing the right thing by just slinking off into the night and letting them take over the server, like bully me out of my position and take over. But it felt shit. It I was furious. I was depressed. It affected my sleep. It affected my appetite. I could not get over it. The injustice of it, of how, I'd been doing the same thing for months and months, and then person A comes on board, and suddenly she's got a problem with everything, and she convinces everyone that I'm the problem. And to make it worse, as soon as I stepped out of that leadership role, those three people suddenly became a whole lot more active and proactive in their leadership role. So like they started doing stuff that I had been suggesting for a long time, like starting a social media account for the server, and using the local self servers to promote new projects, and that felt bad as well, because like that told me that what I was doing wasn't the problem. They just wanted to be doing it themselves. They just wanted to be in charge of the server, and they didn't care that it meant, shoving me aside. So yeah, I was angry about that for months, angry and depressed, and like I couldn't stand how they could do what they'd done, and for everyone to just be okay with it. Now, not everyone knew what they actually did, but even the people who did know what had happened were okay with them just being the new leaders now, and for them to have cast me aside. And then one day, one of the members of the server messaged me to say, "Hey, it's time to put together a team for the Gym Breakers World Cup tournament, an Australian team. Can you help me out with that?" And that was like a big ray of sunshine through the clouds for me, because it allowed me the opportunity to do something proactive again. It allowed me to be a leader again. It allowed me to do something constructive for the Australian PvP scene, which was what I had been trying to do all along. So I gladly helped out until the staff of the server found out that I was doing this, and they said that I don't have the right to do that. They said that they were responsible for PvP in Australia, and and I didn't have the right to decide who gets to play and who doesn't, and they tried to muscle me out of that position and take it for themselves. Now, they had never shown an interest in this tournament until now, in this format until now, and the tournament organizers and the team captain recognized that, and they were like, "No, no, it's fine, thanks, guys. We're gonna stick with Fish here, and we'll let him help out with this." And they didn't like that at all. They they retaliated by just like removing my content links from certain places and channels and whatnot. It's it's not important, but for me that was enough. Like that was the breaking point for me. That's when I decided to say something publicly about it. And I like, because how shit is that? Like it's not enough that they you know, took the cake from me, but they also saw me having an ice cream instead, and they were like, "No, I want that as well." And so I went in the public channels of the server and started calling them out for being a bully, and that I think that was the first time that I used the term bully, because that's what I felt they'd been doing. Like, bullying is not just, shoving someone's face in the dirt and calling them names. Like, bullying is just messing with someone's sense of self worth, messing with making them feel small or powerless. There's plenty of examples of bullying, and as adults, a lot of them happen all the time and they go unchecked. So I tried to check them, and they deleted my messages and opened up a private channel to talk, that's fine. I was disappointed that they deleted my messages, but I don't blame them for it, because like, I was always an advocate of keeping conflict behind closed doors if possible. And so they opened up this private channel, and I quickly learned that their version of talking was not really talking. Like, all they did was throw the term bully back in my face. They told me that I was being the bully, for intimidating people, and then they banned me from the server so that I couldn't respond or do anything else to ruin their good name. And they put out an announcement saying that, good news, everyone, we've banned Fish, and now we can put this negativity behind us and move on with our lives. And not only that, person C here, he also was the owner of my own local Sylph Discord, and he banned me from that too. I presume just because he didn't want to have to deal with me anymore. So that was it, basically. It was kind of like I had built a house with my own two hands and then was locked out of it, or like I'd gone through a nasty divorce and the court had told me I couldn't see my kids anymore. It felt bad, and I'd lay in bed at night running that through my head. I was in a bad place, but over time, the pain, as is always the case, the pain did soften, the anger slowed down. I never forgot what they did or forgave them for it, but after a while, I was at least able to move on with my life and become a functioning adult again. And then we come to the events of the weekend past, which is the reason this video became necessary. Many of you do know what happened already, but for those who don't, I was a regular shoutcaster for a particular Twitch channel. They did like a Friday night team tournament format, and I was a regular shoutcaster for that competition, and we were approached, myself and the small group of Australian content creators that I'd helped put together, were approached to make a team for this particular week. And when I say we were approached, it was really person D here, who is one of the content creators. He was asked to put together a team, and when he told the rest of us, I said that it would be a good opportunity to give some exposure to the smaller content creators among us, because that's what I do. I want to build everyone up. He went away and made a team. I didn't ask him about, the process of how he was picking or whatever. And when I found out that what the team was that he'd put together, he somehow had put person A on it. Person A, who was the staff member of that original server, and someone who is absolutely not a content creator. I don't know how that happened. He maybe was just friends with her and thought that, oh yeah, Fish will get over it. Is enough time's passed. He'll be fine. Or maybe she requested to be on the team just to antagonize me, which I don't put that past her. It is possible. Um, but yeah, seeing her name on that list and knowing I had to shoutcast that, it started to bring back some of that old anger and hurt that I'd been feeling. And the day came and I almost got through. I was so close to getting through the whole thing without saying something stupid. But then, right at the end of the battles, I slipped up. And it was, I said something along the lines of she'd just lost 3-0. And I said something like, and that's a shame because she could have, no, she took a spot from an Aussie content creator. But in her defense, she doesn't really PvP much anymore. She just likes being in charge of stuff. So she's out of practice. Now, it was an unprovoked attack on her. And I don't blame anyone for reacting the way they did, considering they didn't know the backstory behind that. I I I don't make excuses for the comments, because I did make them and they were harsh. But I do want people to know that they came from a place of hurt and a place of pain over what this person had done to me in the past. She was very happy for it to be made a gender issue, which is particularly hard for me to deal with because ensuring that I'm part of the solution, not part of the problem when it comes to women in not just gaming but any area of life is an important thing to me. And so to have that attacked and to have this community that I consider an important community and that I am fully in support of, having them now against me and losing their goodwill is rough. I don't need any of this to be reversed. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't need to be in charge of the Australian PvP scene again. I'd love to be, but it's not going to happen. And I don't need it. I don't need to be a Sylph referee anymore. I don't need to have the shoutcasting spot back on that Twitch channel. What I need and what I really want to happen is for my voice to be heard, to be acknowledged, and understood. I was a victim of bullying. It was not only brushed away, but used against me. That idea of having been bullied. When I confronted my tormentors, they punished me for it. I lashed out at one of those tormentors in pain and am now being punished even more for that. I know how these kind of things go. I've seen them happen to a lot of other people, and I've read about it. There's a great book I recommend called "So You've Been Publicly Shamed" by John Ronson. Really fascinating read, and it's kind of helped me understand this process and deal with it mentally. And so I understand that many people seeing this, it'll just make them angrier at me because they see that I have done a shit thing towards someone that they like and respect. And will see this as like me making excuses or trying to turn the tables or avoid blame or whatever. And that's why I think this will end up being controversial and divisive. So I'm gonna stay offline for a little while. Might be a few days, might be a few weeks. I don't think I'm gonna keep creating content, which is it sucks because like it means the bullies won. Like I'm going away. And they get to do what they wanted to do, and I won't be around anymore. I might still take part in tournaments in future because I do still love battling and I was getting good at it. But we'll see. I don't know how this is gonna be. I don't really know how this is gonna go down, and whether the PvP scene will be a welcoming place for me if and when I come back. If you do, if you're a person who wants to message me and show me support, I'm sorry that I'm not going to see that, and I'm sorry for not getting back to you. I just want to stay offline and avoid the fallout as much as possible. Thanks for listening.